Hello, everybody. Good day. Welcome to part 6, Activity Fit Map. I'm pretty excited about this session as it really is one of the key steps in defining your differentiated strategy. Today's session will take you from where we ended up last time with the attribution map and lead you and guide you on how to decide on your company's 3 to 5 differentiating activities. Here we go. So similar agenda as other sessions, do a quick intro, set out the objectives, always go back and make sure we clearly understand what our definition of strategy is, what a 3-year highly achievable goal is, our 3HAG, and then we'll dig right into picking up from where we left off last time, which we ended up on the attribution framework, and moving forward to the activity fit map. Then we'll talk about next steps and homework and wrap it up. So just an intro, I'm sure everyone knows at this point, background and really where the 3HAG was born. It was originally born in my first company, Paradata Systems, in 1995. And I was born about halfway into founding that company and really figuring out what we needed to do to ensure we could reach the goals we set out for our organization and for our shareholders and our investors, and then really confirming the 3-year highly achievable goal within Subservio, which was founded in 2008, sold 3 years, 3 months later. And it was right on our 3HAG quarter that we ended up taking a term sheet and them recognizing that what we said we would do in quarter 12, we predicted in quarter 1. Really, really important. And really important for the valuation of our organization. But not only that, it was really important to our team to get behind and get confident about the plan that we set forth to achieve. So in July 7th, 2014, released my first book, The Metronome Effect. Even in that book, it wasn't talked about as much, 3HAG, if at all. It wasn't really till I started coaching other companies and then other coaches wanting to learn more about the 3HAG that I really realized how special it was and how important it was for any company and any coach to actually drive and lead the companies we coach to where we want to end up. On April 18th, we released the paperback copy of 3HAG Way. It also exists on Kindle, as well as it was released in early June as an Audible format, which is my favorite format in listening to books. So a little history, a little background. Let's move on because I'm sure most people have seen that before. Huge global gratitude out there. I love all the pictures that are being sent in from coaches and companies I'm working with as they're getting to the point where they're building out their swim lanes. You can see companies in the US, Europe. I've had pictures from Canada, from Mexico, and further away. So thank you, everybody. Keep them coming. It's hugely, hugely cool to see the swim lanes at work, and I know the amount of effort it takes to get to the point of swim lanes. So thanks for that, and keep them coming. So let's just quickly have a look at the homework that was put out last time. The homework was really about confirming and working with your leadership team to get a good solid attribution framework and view of where you currently are and where your 3HAG line should be. So some of the action items was with your leadership team, break into at least 2 groups and create the attribution framework as we went through in the last webinar. As a group, review the attribution maps. And one of the biggest things out of reviewing the maps, if you haven't already realized is really getting an agreement on the 10 attributes of the market. And either, some groups will go really detailed, some groups will go really high level on the attributes, but we're looking for agreement on the attributes of the market. Then we want to create one attribution map out of the ones that were created, agree upon that. We want to ensure that if we were doing guessing around the competitor rankings in the market, if you're just guessing and you're not sure, it's a really good idea to, break up the competitors we don't know well and go and learn more about the players in our marketplace. It's not to say that we are going to compete directly with these competitors in the future, but we really need to know what's happening in our marketplace, in our industry. So we want to review the white space available. Hopefully you've done that with your organization. And we want to agree on the line, agree on the attributes that we want to deliver to our core customer. And then once we do that, we want to get the attribution map up on the wall. We want to be able to see that, and we want to be able to see, where we're tracking on our current timeline, our current attribution map line, and how we're tracking quarter over quarter towards our 3HAG line. It's a great visual. It's a great way to show the team step by step how we're working towards our white space and what we've decided upon as our differentiating activities. And that's really what we're going to talk about today. So the key objectives of today, we're of course going to confirm that we're all on the same page and understanding of what strategy is. We're going to talk and confirm our understanding around our 3HAG, our 3-year highly achievable goal. We're going to always, we've got to keep looking back at our gutted out 3HAG and increasing our confidence or adjusting, evolving our 3HAG. Part of the strategic analysis we're going to do today is really around the activity fit map. And this is Michael Porter's activity fit map. I think our team labeled it activity fit map level 1, and then the more detailed one, level 2. I'm pretty sure Michael Porter doesn't use that terminology, but we're just trying to work through the steps of how do we get there and how do we bring our team along. And so this is a great way to describe it as we work through it today. So more to come on that. So let's jump into what is strategy, what is our 3-year highly achievable goal. This is not anything new. If you've been on the webinar for the last 5 parts, you could probably do this section yourself. And I'm repeating this often and over because I really want the companies who are on this call and the coaches who are on this call to have a good, clear understanding of strategy so we can easily share that and agree upon that with the rest of our team, and not only the leaders, but the rest of our team in general, so we can explain it. Strategy is probably one of the most misunderstood words out there. Most businesses use it a lot and maybe not sure of the exact meaning. So I like Michael Porter's definition of strategy for a couple of reasons. One, it's short and sweet. I can remember it, and my team could remember it. But the other reason is it left me a really clear picture of what we're trying to accomplish by creating a strategy and then executing towards it. So Michael Porter's definition, strategy is a creation of unique and valuable position. That's part of the white space we were looking for in the attribution map. And now in this part of the webinar series, we're really going to focus in, if we're going to be, taking that white space and being unique and valuable, what are the different set of activities that we need to get in place in order to achieve that. So strategy is the creation of a unique and valuable position involving a different set of activities, and that's what we're going to focus in on today. So Michael Porter, again, I loved his view on competition. A lot of companies, a lot of companies, and I would say myself and my team as well. In the beginning, we thought we were competing to be the best, right? And we know if we're competing to be the best, we're competing actually for a clear race to the bottom. We don't want to compete to be the best. We want to compete to be unique. We want to find our own dimension that we avoid competing with rivals. We want to get on our own dimension, be unique, so we avoid competing directly with rivals. So some would say that's ridiculous. In the experience I have around this is if we choose our core customer, we understand what's happening in our industry. That's why we did an attribution map of our industry, not for product, not for service specifically, but of the industry we're playing in. It helps us get a clearer picture of what dimension we can be on, serving a core customer that will buy at a profit for what we do. So we want to create a differentiated strategy that puts us on a different dimension. So again, we've seen this in the past, but strategy and why, we constantly call this a strategic system is that we'll forever, never, ever going to stop analyzing externally in our marketplace and internally in our company. That is the basis of our strategic evaluation, which helps us define our strategy and then drive us to a great execution roadmap. And that's where the 3-year highly achievable goal comes in. We constantly do the analysis. We constantly adjust, if needed, our roadmap to how we're going to execute from where we are now driving forward. So there's lots of different tools we can use out there. The last tool we talked about was the attribution framework, which is an external analysis. What we're going to work through today is the activity fit map, which is all about the fit internally of the activities, the differentiating activities that we are deciding to work on and put in place. So this is a great picture to share with your team to ensure that they understand that strategy is not one and done. We don't just do the internal analysis, the external analysis at one point in time, do the evaluation and come up with the strategy. We want it forever to be alive, and we want forever to keep actually going back and assuring and checking in that we're confident that we're driving to where we want to go, not around the block. So the foundation of what we're creating, both as leaders in our company and as coaches supporting companies, we need to ensure we understand our core purpose, our core values, and our 10 to 30-year goal. This is the foundation of our company and our cultural system. We want to get in place our cohesive system, which will drive our cohesive team, which becomes a very high-performing team, loving the framework from Pat Lencioni, powered by 5 dysfunctions. Then, of course, we want to create a human system, a system that will attract, hire, onboard, coach, keep, grow, reward A players. And the system here is powered by top grading. Our team leaders sandwich that together with the CEO, absolutely accountable for ensuring that these 3 systems are in place to take care of our people and our team in order to execute. And our team is at the very top of the house in order to ensure that the team that does hold the reputation of our business in their hands is well taken care of. There's clarity about the foundation of our organization, how we're going to play together as a team, and how we actually create a great repeatable system for all team members. What goes on inside of the house is our strategic system, one we just talked about. And of course, we have lots of different tools to help us create the confidence about where we want to go. And then the execution system is all about setting out our priorities, aligning what we do today, in the week, in the month, in the quarter, in the year, aligned to our 3-year and our 10-year goals. So that's a huge mouthful. Of course, we need a cash system, a repeatable process to ensure that we're making money, not only in case that if you're a company that's raising money, we have to figure out how to make money. And then the 3-year highly achievable goal, the framework that we've been stepping through and learning about is, really the key that actually, fills the gap, ensuring our strategy comes alive and forever is alive through our execution system. So the definition of 3HAG, strategic execution system that drives confidence. You've already heard me say that a couple of times. We want to be confident in predicting the future. Those words usually don't go together. That's what we're going to get better at. As coaches, we really want to help companies get better at that. And as leaders, we want to get better at that. It makes it much easier to make great decisions, and our team members to make great decisions to making it happen in regards to where we're driving. So most organizations, including my own, back in the day, we had a 5-year super wild ass guess as a plan, and forever that shall not meet our 1-year highly achievable goal, nor anything to do with our execution plan. That gap was considerable and causing us, lots of grief, not only from our investors, our shareholders, and our board, but also our team and the momentum of not ever getting to where we wanted to go. So what got born out of that was getting really clear on what we could reach out and touch. That's where the 3-year highly achievable goal came in, to fill in that gap, to create the stepping stone that we could agree upon, be confident in, and drive towards it in order to get us that one step closer to our big, hairy, audacious goal, as Jim Collins coins it. The strategic execution system, lots of people, when they see it and they hear that we're going to map out 12 quarters of assumptions of, pathing forward, how we're going to get to our 3-year highly achievable goal, usually shut down and not think about it anymore, nor do they want to take on that challenge. But truly, in any 1 year we're in and we're planning out 4 quarters anyway. We really have to just plan 8 more quarters. And these are things that can be done. It's better to write down where we think we're going than not to write anything down at all. The more we write it down, the more confident we get, the more we evolve it, the more the team talks about it, and we make good decisions on where we're going. So the strategic place in this is really about our 3HAG statement, our differentiators, and of course our brand promise with guarantee. The top end of column 3 in Vern Harnish's one-page plan is really about execution and driving out to the revenue, the profit, the cash, and really widget-based forecasting, coming up with the number of widgets we're going to sell in the 3rd fiscal year from now. And then where strategy meets execution is around the brand promise. And so that is why the steps that we're going to work through and have been working through, we're doing it in an order on purpose to help build our confidence, even though we got it out in our very first session, our 3HAG. We got it out this whole column. Now we're stepping back, we're stepping through it, we're going through each area to get a better analysis in order to simplify, create the pictures we need, get the alignment from the team, drive our focus, drive our clarity. And at the end of the day, if we have confidence to make good decisions on where we're going, we absolutely will be able to drive forward and get to that 3-year highly achievable goal. That's why the HA is highly achievable. Now, here's the steps we've been working through. We're actually rolling into step 6, and we're going to do step 8. We're going to actually talk a little bit about step 7 and 9 in the next part in the series. So this is where we're driving to. We already gutted out our 3HAG in our very first session. This is an example of the one from Paradata Systems that we gutted out. So we have our core purpose, our BHAG. We filled in column 3 to the best of our ability. We came up with the internal analysis of our key process flow map. I'm hoping you have this on the wall. You're working it, you're evolving it month over month as we roll forward through this series. We have our market map. That should be up on the wall as well. The market map is giving us clarity of how we go to market, where our dollars flow, and then who's on the back end. And we're really looking for synergies. There's lots of different layers you can work in on your map. In this particular case, we're trying to figure out who's playing in our arena, what are the relationships, and what could be coming. And in the market map, as we know, we don't control what's going on around us. We just have to make sure we have clarity on what's happening. Then we have to be really clear on who our core customer is, who's buying from us at a profit. In this particular case, Peter was Paradata's core customer example. What matters, making money, selling easily, and not supporting that customer after the sale. So we are very clear on that, and you'll actually see as we work through this example how this played into us making decisions on what our 3 to 5 differentiating actions turned out to be. So this is what we worked on in the last session, which is the attribution framework. The red line with the yellow dots is Paradata, and this was organizing our attribution framework according to the characteristics in our marketplace, and then coming up with our ratings, organizing the attributes at the bottom in order of what we did best to what we didn't do well at all, and then mapping the other competitors in as well. You can see the green line, competitor 1, and the red line, competitor 2. We then decided on the white space that was available and thinking about our core customer, what we should be good at, where should we move our current line to our 3-HAG line, our 3-year highly achievable line. And this is, in this example, what it turned out to be. I hope you've done those steps and that you have the picture on the wall. Because where we want to go to now is working from the things we decided we wanted to be good at that mattered to our core customer, and what are the differentiating actions we need to put in place as an organization. So let's roll into the activity fit map. So it is step 6. We are going in an order, throughout this process on purpose. So now we're working from the attribution framework into our 3 to 5 differentiating actions. If we look back at the definition of strategy, the attribution framework helped us see and even create our unique and valuable position. But in order to move the organization there, we really need to actually decide what the different set of activities are going to be to get us there. And these are dependent. These activities are dependent upon one another, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. So this is what we did in our attribution framework. We came up with how we rated against these characteristics, and then how our competitors, we mapped the line. We then went in and said, where do we think we should be playing in the marketplace according to who our core customer is. We actually came up with our 3-HAG line. And then, according to Michael Porter, we need now to create the fit amongst our company's activities. And this is all about what are the things we can do. We're going to decide to do. Though what we decided upon thus far are the characteristics that we believe, if we do well, matter to our core customer. Now, what is the specific actions that we're going to decide to do to actually do those characteristics to rate them well? In our particular case, we were thinking about, and this is all about positioning, and we're thinking about the positioning for our core customer for that unique and valuable space. Now, the example I'm going to use here is a very well-used example. It's Southwest. And if we think about the differentiating activities Southwest took on, there were many. And these were very specific. It's a very well-known example. There hasn't been many airlines able to copy this. And it's because of these interdependent, differentiating activities when they came to market and as they still exist today. And Southwest was playing on a different curve than most of the full-service airlines. The full service airlines, where Southwest focused on short haul, they focused on everywhere. Where Southwest focused on low cost operation, the full service airlines was very much high cost. Where Southwest focused on only one service, full service airlines had first class, business class, economy, and so on. Where there was lots of frills and assigned seating, transfer baggage, meals, Southwest decided upon no frills. First come, first served seating, no baggage transfer, no meals, and so on. You get the picture. So Southwest looked for very much the white space in a very unprofitable airline industry when they started up. And we're looking at who, being the core customer, was going to buy at a profit and how could they deliver that as well to actually own the white space around really a low cost airline. And as it turns out, Southwest was a very low cost, profitable airline in one of the most unprofitable industries of its time, and it still is. So why is it, for Southwest that simple? Well, I don't know if it was that simple, but they were very specific and focused on what they were going to do and what they were not going to do. That is probably the best things, if you take anything away from today's webinar, is really, as a coach, supporting your companies on deciding what they're going to do and what they're not going to do. It's as important to be clear on what they're not going to do as it is on what they're going to do. And as leaders of companies who are listening in on this webinar, I really want you to think about the same thing. You can't do it all. We've got to focus on the things that are really going to put us into a differentiated position, that unique and valuable space. So this is Southwest Airlines activity map. And the blue circles are their differentiators. The green circles are the supporting actions, the more granular sort of tactical actions that were clearly dependent and needed to be in place in order for the blue circles to become true. What we want to do today is draw a very similar activity map for your business. And we wanted to be clear on what are those interdependent activities that we need to put in place. Some of them might be already in place. There's others that we're going to have them sort of map our execution path towards that. I have another example in here, which is IKEA. And this is from Michael Porter as well. And IKEA had 4 differentiating activities. Limited customer service. Sort of sounds ridiculous for a retail company, but they were very, very focused on that. Self-selection by customers, okay. Low cost manufacturing and modular furniture design. So IKEA's customer loves what IKEA is about, and they buy at IKEA for a profit. And the great, probably the most interesting thing is, if you've ever been to IKEA, is, what store makes you go into the warehouse, get a big cart, get whatever you're buying down. It's not assembled, it's not put together, and you put it onto, your big sort of bulk cart, wheel it up to the checkout, and then wheel it out to your car and figure out how to fit it in and get out there. IKEA customers love that. And it's, they're very specific and have not moved from this strategy for many, many years. It's not like people don't know this strategy, other retailers, but no one has come and copied it. And they haven't executed, if they even tried as well. Some might try 1 or 2 activities according to their differentiators, but it's really not about copying 1 or 2 differentiators. For a great strategy, it's ensuring that you can clearly articulate it and know that because of the interdependencies, because of what you put in place for your organization, no other company can actually copy it. Southwest is a great example. IKEA is another great example. So when we go into Paradata, quite frankly, in this example, when we map this out, we're looking like any other payment provider that went direct to merchants. And we wanted to find a way to grow faster and actually evolve who our core customer was. It's why our 3HAG line got built and drawn in so differently from our competitors. Our competitors all went direct. We decided to go through channels, both banks, resellers in the marketplace, and processors. We wanted to actually, get that exponential effect, but we had to be very clear on how to serve the channel as our core customer. So we decided to be good at, this is where really the activities came out of the attributes that we decided to be good at. We decided to be good at answer the phone service. So we did it 24/7, but answer the phone service. And that sounds a little ridiculous. I'm sure if you're listening in on this going, all you had to do is pick up the phone when it rang. But our whole goal around the differentiating activity of answer the phone service was to put in place an operation that would basically, the phone wouldn't ring. Our whole goal was, yes, to offer answer the phone service, but to ensure the phone never rang because our service was at operational excellence. Another differentiating action was a white label reseller program. So yes, we wanted to have a reseller program. Our competitors who went direct did not, but we're even going a little bit further and allowing a white label reseller program. So allowing our partners to brand it with their brand name, we would be the behind the scenes service operation that would deliver that to their clients. So the Royal Bank of Canada, white labeled our payment service, and we answered the phone in our call centers, even in our sales centers as Royal Bank of Canada Merchant Services. So we did level 1 support through this as well. Set up in less than an hour. This was an absolute must if we're going to work with resellers. Once our resellers were able to deliver a merchant account adjudicated in less than an hour, we had to be able to follow through on that as well. That was a huge ordeal for us. And it wasn't, that on its own wasn't going to be the differentiated activity. We know others as we rolled forward, all our direct competitors and other competitors in the market, sort of were keeping up with the Joneses. They all could do setup in less than an hour as well, but they didn't have the answer the phone service, and they weren't focused on the white label reseller program, nor were they focused on multi-currency. And so that was a one-to-one. Multi-currency, all our competitors out there only facilitated one currency. They were really only located in one country. And our focus was, if we're going to work with large resellers, global banks, and processors, we must be able to facilitate more than one currency. And so these 4 things became our differentiated activities. Now, why were they our differentiated activities? Because they were serving what mattered to our core customer. Our core customer wanted to make money. And they made money if we could have operational excellence. They made money if it was easy to sell and easy for us actually to get the merchant up and running quickly. They made more money that way. And because we had such strong serviceability, they didn't ever, after selling the merchant, want to talk to that merchant again. So these differentiated activities, the white label reseller program, set up in less than an hour, answer the phone service, and multi-currency, all served what mattered to our core customer, so they would actually buy from us at a profit. So I want you to keep that in mind. You've got your attribution map up on the wall. The next step is, what are the specific activities that we're going to decide to do as a company to serve what we think is most important, that we're deciding to do for our core customer. And then if we look to the right-hand side of our attribution map, there should be things there that we've decided not to do well. because they really don't matter to our core customer. Okay, that's super important. So now, if we roll forward, we really want to, get those up onto the wall. These are the 4 things we're going to do. Now, they're not one-offs. They're actually absolutely interdependent. So the next step you want to take is looking at your differentiating activities that you've put up on the wall and starting to draw the lines that you see now in here are the dependency lines. So white label reseller program, there was an absolute dependency for us to do this well on multi-currency, being able to support more than one currency. Set up in less than an hour definitely was directly related to our white label reseller program. Our resellers actually provided merchant accounts and adjudicated in less than an hour, so we had to provide our payment service in less than an hour. As well, the answer the phone service was all about our high level of customer support excellence 24/7. And of course, if we were doing these things and we were operating well, our phone would not ring. But it was absolutely dependent upon those things. Same with our white label reseller program. Our resellers loved that we actually provided the service, that we were willing to do so from a level 1 support all the way through, and that we did answer the phone, whereby lots of our partners at that time did not have the same level of customer service. So if you're looking at this going, how am I ever going to come up with our differentiating actions? The first thing you got to do, and why we do the 3-HAG line without basically, talking about our differentiating activities, is deciding what's important to our core customer and where the white space is in the marketplace that aligns with that as well. We have to keep the core customer in mind throughout this. And then we're going to decide on the activities that we're going to put in place. So what do we need to do to get us to our 3-HAG line? So we're going to fill in our activity fit map. That will be the next step. And in order to do so, a lot of companies don't just come up with the key activities. Some do, based upon the discussions we've had around the attribution map. Others need a little bit more work from there, knowing that we have the attribution map, knowing where the unique and valuable position is. In some cases, we will actually work through this and working and breaking into groups as a leadership team and coming up with ideas around what would be those activities to actually reflect what we decided we should be good at to get us to a unique and valuable position in our 3-HAG line and get those up onto the board for review. We are driving, this high level, what I showed you earlier of paradata, of just having the clear circles filled in and the interdependencies. We are driving towards not only the big circles, the differentiators, we are driving towards the more tactical things we have to do to get in place that are as well as dependent upon getting the bigger circles in place as some of the smaller circles. So this is what we're looking for as an end game. This is Paradata's example. I already talked through the big green circles. The blue circles were all about, how are we going to get, let's talk about multi-currency, for instance, in place. Well, connection with global processors was key. Having a Paradata data spec was key, right? These are things that supported multi-currency. In regards to not having our phone ring, we needed a highly available payment platform. We needed an enterprise level phone system. We needed a global call center. We had a multilingual team as we grew across the global payment processors. In regards to supporting a white label reseller program, we had a training program for resellers. Multilingual is also important there. We had support for all electronic payment types, which was important as we went to different countries. And we had a back-end portal online portal for our resellers. This made it easier for them to sell. And remember, it was about easy to sell. And then set up in less than an hour. Again, it was dependent upon our data spec, our self-serve portal for merchants, our back-end portal for support, our internal support, in order to ensure we could accommodate set up in less than an hour. So these are some of the things in our example that we had to get in place. Now this is blurred out on purpose, but why I put this in is, what you can see here is a company I was working with that came up with their 5 differentiators. And the yellow Post-its are a brainstorming session of coming up with some of the other more tactical, like we looked at here in the blue circles, the more tactical steps we need to get in place in order to make the green circles true. I want for any coach working with this or any companies working with this, we want to get at the very least the green circles that you see here for Paradata, gutted out and in place and aligned with what we said we would be in the attribution map. And then we want to brainstorm what are the supporting activities we need to get in place and start getting those up on the board. Okay, so those are really key steps in order to moving on and moving forward into the next round. So hopefully I presented this to a group I work with who's been working with in 3HAG for a while. They had some really good questions about the transition from the attribution framework and the key characteristics of the market and coming up with the differentiating actions. There's no magic to the differentiating actions other than focusing in, having the conversation with the leadership team in order to make sure we've talked enough about this, put the brutal facts on the table, and really seeking out the positioning and the value prop that we're looking at to get our company into a unique and valuable position 3 years away. So as I said, some of the differentiators you come up with, you may already have in place. Awesome. Others, you'll be working towards getting them in place. One of the things once we, started, socializing this, not only with the leadership team, but the rest of the team, it was a really great discussion to help evolve and confirm where we're going for our differentiated strategy. So if it doesn't feel comfortable or if it's feeling awkward that you're going from these characteristics, a lot of companies and feedback I've received is, how do we know if we got the characteristics correct? You might not know. It might not be perfect the first time around, but you all know what I'm going to say. Gut it out, go with it. If you don't write something down, you never will. So we've got to get something down on paper to agree, disagree, and most importantly, confirm that we're going in the right direction. So those are the steps we want to take for our 3 to 5 differentiating actions. So what are the next steps? And I sort of will step through and rehash where we're going. So the next step today, we worked through the activity fit map level 1 and level 2. Our next session, we're going to talk about our one phrase strategy, where that comes from, how do we come up with that, why is it important, and how do we map out our swim lanes from here? What are swim lanes? Why are they important? Why now do we need swim lanes? So it's really important that we have between now and the next session, get our activity fit map to a place where we have a little bit of confidence. So even after today, get it up on the wall, right? Work through it with your team, confirm it, talk about it. That's the only way we can start evolving this. Then from getting our swim lanes mapped out, it's all about a leadership 36 month over month forecasted profit and loss statement. Okay, it's a leadership tool. We then are going to drive towards our brand promise with guarantee, confirm our 3HAG. We're sort of doing it each time we get together. And of course, we want to talk more and wrap it up around our secret sauce. Why is it important? And why haven't we talked about it yet. Why are we talking about it as part 11? So the homework with your leadership team, have the leaders break into groups of 2. Ask each group to come up with 3 to 5 activities to meet the 3HAG line. It's a really great way to get a lot of different thoughts on the table. Have each group of 2 present their ideas, 1 on each post-it. So as each group presents, we'll start sort of gathering similar post-it notes and ideas together. We want to group them together, and then we want to figure out, does that grouping represent one sort of bigger activity? Once all the groups have presented, discuss the high-level grouping areas and look to come up with a high-level, activity that represents the grouping. In our case, one of those high-level activities was answer the phone service. We had a whole lot of things that went around supporting activities. Confirm the differentiating activities by putting the dependencies in, so that a competitor, and we know this happens, might try to copy one of our differentiating activities. We know that doesn't matter because it's about the interdependencies of our differentiating activities. With the leadership team, add in the supporting activities, as I showed you with Paradata, the blue circles, and as we saw with IKEA, as well as Southwest. Once you've got that done, let's get the activity fit map up on the wall. So we're looking at it, we're evolving it, and we're getting ready, because when we come into the next session, we really want to take our key differentiators, the supporting activities, and we want to start to put a timeline to that, which is why we use the swim lanes for 12 quarters. So to wrap this up, I hope this has helped sort of move your organization forward in getting some differentiating actions in place and enabling you and your leadership team to go have a good discussion about it. We know the biggest gap we have out there in the marketplace is not trying strategy to execution, but really either not having one at all, not having a known one, not having a differentiated strategy. We want to have all these things in place, because we know having a 3-year highly achievable goal that has our strategic system in play, so it's not static. We're working through it. We're constantly working through it, and we're aligning our highly achievable goal 3 years away, aligned to our 1 year, our 90-day individual, and our 30-day. So the 3HAG is definitely the glue that can drive the value for your company going forward. The better we can map this out, the clearer decisions we can make, and we have confidence in where we're going. So as always, this webinar recording will be available. The slides and tools will be sent out for use and to help you actually roll this forward with your teams, whether you're coaching or working with your leadership team through this process. Our next session, as I said, part 7, is all about swim lanes. And the whole idea behind swim lanes, it didn't really come from swimming, because swim lanes are hard. It isn't about that. It's really, swim lanes came out of Project Management 101. And I really look forward to explaining that in the next webinar session. Other resources that are out there and available, we know the book's available, hard copy, Kindle, and Audible. I tried to be as explicit and prescriptive as possible in this book, so that this webinar series and that book will help teams move forward quickly. We also have been lots of great feedback coming in. We've been working with companies and coaches through writing their story and their experience through blogs, their learnings. I've had lots of coaches just send in, I was working on this tool on the 3HAG way, and I tried it this way, and then we evolved it to another step. So we're trying to get those captured so we can all leverage that with our clients as well as in our leadership teams. For coaches, we are launching a 3HAG certification program. We've had many requests from around the world. And so we're going to launch out a program later in July, which I'm pretty excited about. I never, as you know, and you've been on this webinar series from day one, this wasn't contemplated. But since we launched the book and since we worked with coaches in New Orleans, it's definitely been asked of our group, and we're really excited about getting this out and working through the program. So please stay tuned for that. You know, there's a YouTube channel. You know, we have videos. These webinars are going up there for you to utilize and to re-listen to and work through this. Our workshop schedule will also be released this month. And this workshop schedule is for companies and or coaches. And then we've tried to get our tools, all the tools up for download online in as easy a format as possible. So thanks everybody for all the feedback in all these areas. We're really looking forward to certifying some coaches and getting this out there into the marketplace. So thank you again for your time. You know, our focus is all about growing leaders and having leaders impact their teams, their families, and of course their communities. And our next webinar will be August the 7th, 9 a.m. Pacific, and we're focusing in on swim lanes. So keep the questions coming, keep the feedback coming, keep the pictures coming, and I'll look forward to the next time we get together, which is on August the 7th. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.